All right, this is Mr. Wyrick. I'm here tonight for the test review for part 4C, where we've been talking about quadratic equations, how to solve quadratic equations, different parts of quadratic equations. We're coming up on the test tomorrow, so I thought I'd make a video tonight. Got some Christmas music in the background. I'm here in my kitchen. So on this top part here, it's talking about the discriminant. Whenever it's the discriminant, it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. Okay, so all you're doing is you're seeing what the discriminant is going to be. If it's a positive number, then we're going to have two real solutions. If it's 0, we're only going to have one real solution. It's a double root. And if it's negative, we are going to have two complex solutions, or two imaginary numbers. So if I can just guess at one real quick, like this one right here, it'd be b squared, which would be 9. 3 squared is 9. Minus 4. Writing upside down here. 4 times 1 times 4. And that 9 is terrible. 4 times 4 is going to be 16. So this is 9 minus 16, so it's going to be a negative 7 would be my discriminant. And since it's negative, that means I would have two complex answers, two imaginary numbers that are going to be for that one. If it's one like this, it's 100 minus 100, that would be 0, so it's going to be one real answer. On these, when you're working them out, be very careful. Since it's b squared, like this one where it's negative 5, if you put it in the calculator, put the negative 5 in parentheses and then square it. Otherwise, it's always going to give you a negative number. Make sure you're checking those out. On the next part down here, it's talking about solving them using the quadratic equation, or the quadratic formula, which is going to be x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? This will be written on the board. Just make sure you understand how each part works. So on this first one, x squared plus 6x plus 9, that's going to be a negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1, because there's a 1 in front of that, x squared, times 9. And then it's over 2 times 1, which is just going to be 2. In this case, your 6 squared is going to be 36. Your 4 times 9 is going to be 36, so 36 minus 36 is 0. So this is one of the ones where if you were doing the discriminant, you'd come up with 0. You only have one real answer. This is going to be a multiple choice test, so make sure you understand how to put these into the calculator, how to get the answers correctly, how to work through it, and you'll be in good shape. Make sure if it's ones like this where the equal sign is in the middle, that you move these to the other side of the equation, change the sign, so that way you get them all on one side before you try to work it out. On the back side, this is how some of the questions on the test are going to be set up. It's going to have this, and it's going to say, okay, which one is going to be how you would set up the quadratic equation for this. So again, you'll have the formula. Negative b means this is a negative 7, so it can't actually be the negative 7. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. If 4 times a times c makes a minus 40 here, they either both have to be negative or they both have to be positive. In this case, it's probably going to be this one. Just because that's going to come to, the negative 4 times the negative 5 would make a positive 20 times negative 2 would make a minus 40. Okay? Which of the following shows the correct step in finding the solution? Again, b squared minus 4ac, go ahead and subtract them, see which one comes up to the right thing. Solutions on this, if it's already factored, set each factor equal to 0. This is going to be a positive 4 and a negative 7. What are the solutions of this one? You can find them by factoring if you want to find them by factoring. You can find them using the quadratic equation if you want to do that. You can graph it and see where the answers are on the graph. It doesn't matter to me how you get the answer as long as you know that what the answer is supposed to be. Now, the last thing on here, and this is probably the most important thing as far as being able to read the test and understand it, and that's that x-intercepts, solutions, roots, and zeros are all exactly the same thing. They are interchangeable as vocabulary words, so you don't have to try to do anything different to come up with the answers on those. Use the quadratic formula, factor it, graph it, whatever you want to do to come up with those answers. It's going to be an acceptable method of getting there. Okay? Hopefully this helped you out. Use this video as a study guide. Rewind, check through the parts that you don't understand perfectly, and come and check in with me in the morning if there's anything else that you need help with. Thanks.